Hello and welcome. This is a battle report for the Fallout Wasteland Warfare tabletop game. Today's scenario is Mixed Messages from the Capital Wasteland expansion. I'll be taking Reilly's Rangers' fully loaded force against their nemesis, Super Mutants. The mutants are controlled by Wasteland Warfare's solo AI rules. From the scenario's description, it says, "The huge satellite dish looms in the distance, apparently broken beyond repair. The rumor is, however, that the dish may work better than it appears. There have been reports of static from the SATCOM, rhythmic sounds that could be enclave signals. Rumors or not, there's bound to be some food and supplies to make the trip worthwhile. I don't have any specific satellite dish terrain, but this battlefield represents a broken down facility with lots of holes through the superstructure. Both sides have parallel but similar goals in this struggle. There are 4 signal scramblers outside the ring of the facility. They are all on by default, and the Super Mutants want to turn them off with a successful search test. They can also destroy them, but they get 2 points for each one turned off, and only 1 point for each one destroyed. They each have 3 HP and 1+1 strong armor. Reilly's Rangers are targeting these computer terminals that are powering the SATCOM. Similar to the Scramblers, these are all switched on by default. The Rangers get 2 points for each one turned off, and 1 point for each one destroyed. The only difference is that it requires a computer's check to switch these off instead of a search. One interesting thing is that the rules for both the terminals and scramblers say, a model in base contact with the token may perform a melee or ranged attack against it to destroy it. The way the rules are written, it sounds like you can't make a ranged attack against a token unless you're touching it. I'm not sure if that was intentional, because otherwise sniping tokens might be too easy. But that's how it's written, so that's how I played it. Reilly's Rangers brings everyone from their expansion. Reilly has her submachine gun and a combat knife, and the Warden Leader perk. Her second-in-command, Butcher, has a hunting revolver and a switchblade. Donovan has his Chinese assault rifle, a combat knife, and his default repair kit, which I didn't bother getting out because it wouldn't be usable by anyone on the team. Brick brings Eugene the minigun, a combat knife, and the Bloody Mess perk. Bringing up the rear is Theo, with just a 10mm pistol and a combat knife as well. The Super Mutants are led by an aviator with his cap and an assault rifle. He's backed up by 2 regular Super Mutants with bolt-action pipe rifles and pipe wrenches. There's a pair of skirmishers with boards along as well, and a single mutant hound. After adding some items to the map, the force is set up. The Super Mutants are crowded around the center. As per the scenario rules, at least 1 model of Reilly's Rangers has to set up in each corner. Since we've got 5 total, Theo takes up a strategic position behind Brick, our heavy hitter. It's not hiding, it's strategic. For this scenario, I'm not using the Wasteland deck as usual, but trying out the region rules sheets that came with the Capital Wasteland expansion. Because this is taking place at a military outpost, before round 1 starts, each side gets to roll a blue die and add a strong armor token for each cola bottle they get. The Rangers get 1, and the Super Mutants get 2. On the Ranger side, we already have 1 strong armor token per model, as they're all unique survivor models. I decided to double up on Theo. He's the weakest team member by far, so could use a little help with survivability. Since the generic Super Mutants have only 1 physical and energy armor each, I figure that they could use this boost most effectively. With all that sorted, turn run starts. With fewer models, and Theo not counting due to his tactician rule, the Rangers get to go first. Theo readies, but does not activate. He's fine with just waiting for right now. The Aviator is up first for the Mutants and rolls to go for the objective, so he rushes ahead, not caring about the puny human in front of him. Brick readies up as well, but doesn't activate yet either. The Mutant Hound goes next and has just enough space to move and charge into Donovan. Donovan readies up as well, preparing to strike back before the Hound gets a chomp in. The first skirmisher goes and moves up on Brick and Theo. He couldn't charge because the APC blocked line of sight, but he's definitely still threatening the Rangers. Butcher readies up as well. The Rangers are prepping for a big group activation. One of the generic mutants decides to go for the objective, almost making it to the signal scrambler, but not quite. Reilly readies up and the Rangers are good to go. Donovan goes first and starts swinging away with his combat knife. The first swing is good, connecting, getting 2 damage in, and even earning a prepare token as well. The second swing is also good, and gets another pair of damage in. The Hound is left with only 1 HP after that onslaught. Brick opens up with Eugene into the skirmisher. The first hit is good, 1 damage blocked by armor, but 1 gets in. The second shot is a miss, unfortunately. The third shot is a hit, and the armor break gets the single damage through. Another miss for shot 4. And then the final one chips in a pair of damage with the failed armor roll. 4 damage is a decent result, but Eugene's rules can lead to some crazy runaway damage, if you don't miss 2 out of the 5 shots. Since firing the minigun only takes 1 action, Brick opts to charge the skirmisher with her other one. That way she can keep him from going after Theo, and might be able to clear him out in 1 melee attack next turn. Reilly is up next and drills 3 damage into the aviator, even after 1 gets blocked by armor. The second shot is a repeat of the first, 3 more damage, and the aviator is also sitting with just 2 left. The Rangers are definitely pulling ahead on the damage race. This was getting a bit greedy, but I tried to have Theo be the hero and drop the aviator. He steps up and takes a shot with the 10mm pistol, rolling 4 damage, but it goes wide of the mark. Maybe next time. To finish it out, Butcher steps up, but doesn't poke his head around the wall. There's still 2 more mutants in the center, and he doesn't want to pull both of their full attention. The other skirmisher takes off after Reilly to try to provide some support for his perforated leader. The final mutant wants to go for the objective, but Butcher is in the way. So he moves and charges the medic to be ready for next turn. As turn 1 wraps up, the Rangers have been piling on the damage, and the mutants are running for the objective. Kind of the opposite of what you'd expect, but hey, here we are. For turn 2, the event only affects energy weapons, of which there aren't any on the field. The Rangers keep the initiative, since with Theo they count as only having 4 models on the field. Reilly activates first, hoping to drop the aviator before he can do anything. Her first shot crit fails. Maybe the barrel of the SMG got so hot last round that it's throwing her aim off. The second shot isn't a crit failure, but still a failure. That's an underwhelming start. With only 1 HP left, it makes sense for the Mutant Hound to activate first for the mutants. Its first chomp is an incredibly near miss. Donovan tries to strike back with his reaction token, but also misses. The Hound's second chomp hits, but just barely. Donovan blocks one of the incoming damage with regular armor and the other one with a strong armor token. Taking another chance to try to play the hero, Theo takes a shot at the aviator, but the first one goes wide. The second one is just barely a miss, but still a miss. No luck this time, bucko. The skirmisher goes next, taking a swat at Brick with a board. The first attempt is another near miss. The second one connects, and after a failed armor roll, she loses her strong armor token and takes a point of damage through. Deciding that the aviator is a bigger threat, I activate Brick next. She walks away from the skirmisher, whose parting shot does hit, but her combat armor absorbs the blow. She spins up Eugene and unloads into the aviator. The first shot hits and generates an action point, but does get blocked on armor. With a bonus damage and armor break from the walked fire rules, the second shot lands and gets the last 2 damage into the aviator, dropping him. Unfortunately, the skirmisher is just too far away for the rest of the shots to go in, but still, it's good to have the aviator out. Unhappy about this turn of events, the skirmisher charges into Reilly and lands an insane 5 damage hit. Her armor roll fails, so the only thing softening the blow is a strong armor token. So now she only has a pair of hit points left. Even though the Mutant Hound has already activated, Donovan goes next to try to close it out quickly and try to take some shots into the Super Mutant before I can turn off the Scrambler. This plan is sound, but his first stab with a combat knife is an unfortunate near miss. And the second one is a crit failure. Rough to see that happen, after how well the previous round went for him. The Super Mutant engaged with Butcher takes a swat, breaking both of his armor, taking a strong armor token, and knocking a point of damage in. However, he's more interested in the objective, so after the attack he performs a shift move, and then disengages to get in contact with the Signal Scrambler for next turn. Butcher takes a swing with his Switchblade, but it's a frantic wild arc that misses. Butcher is also more invested in the objectives than combat this round, so he moves up to the nearest terminal. His attempt to shut it down fails, though. On the other side, the other generic Super Mutant gets to the Signal Scrambler, but fails to turn it off also. And that's a wrap on turn 2. The aviator is down, but Reilly is hurting, and the mutants are in position to score 2 objectives to the Rangers' 1. The event for turn 3 should resolve an attack against a model not near cover. However, literally every model on the table is close to cover, so there's nothing doing there. Since Theo doesn't count for determining advantage, the Rangers get to keep it this turn. With the aviator out of the way, Theo takes the opportunity to get onto an objective point, ready to try to switch it off next turn. The hurt skirmisher charges Brick. She gets a reaction attack with her prepared token, but it misses. The skirmisher's attack is a huge 4 damage hit. Brick's armor fails and she takes it all. Now she's on 1 HP left as well. Reilly goes next, and she's able to disengage from the skirmisher without taking a parting swing due to her Warden ability. She fires back at him, and with the bonus armor break she gets from her hatred of Super Mutants, is able to get 3 damage into him. On the other side of the field, the generic Super Mutant searches frantically for the off switch for the Signal Scrambler. It takes 2 tries, but he does get it. Donovan is up next, and just needs to get 1 damage through to drop the Mutant Hound. His first swing with a combat knife is a crit fail. Proving that consistency isn't always a virtue, his second attack also crit fails. To add insult to injury, now Donovan gets another round of attacks from the Hound. Fortunately, the first attack is a miss. The second attack does hit and gets 2 damage in. Butcher is up next and successfully shuts off the terminal he's in front of. Now, the points tally is at 2 per side. For her second action, Butcher starts heading over towards the next terminal. He's one of our better hackers, so I wanted him to get on the objective duty as quickly as possible. This mutant might be just a bit brighter than the others because it gets the signal scrambler shut off on the first try. Now we're behind on score again with the mutants 4 to R2. Deciding to leave the scrambler unguarded, the mutant also moves up to loot just behind Butcher. Brick activates and shanks 1 point of damage into the skirmisher with the combat knife. Since the last attack generated an action point, and Brick can use action points to attack, she takes another swipe as a quick action. It hits, and both points of damage get to ignore armor because of the 2 cola bottles, so the skirmisher is down. Wheeling around, with a second full action to spend, Brick spins up Eugene to let loose a barrage against the skirmisher at long range through a piece of cover. The first shot is a hit, but gets blocked on armor. The second shot is a straight miss. Third shot is a hit, but the damage is blocked by armor again. Fourth shot is a miss. We're really not getting lucky on these follow-up shots, unfortunately. The fifth shot is a hit, and the failed armor roll means that the damage gets through. But the skirmisher is still standing with 2 left. Not an ideal situation for sure. Especially since now he activates and charges into Reilly, knocking her out with a mighty swing from his board. That closes out turn 3. Bodies are dropping on both sides, and the points are starting to rack up as well. The event for turn 4 is a Predator's Roar. This sets up a tense feeling on the battlefield, but has no gameplay effect to resolve. With the mutants and rangers losing a model each, the advantage stays with the rangers. Brick goes first and spins up Eugene again, leveling him at the skirmisher, hoping to bring him down before he can do any more damage. The first shot hits, but gets blocked by armor. The second shot would have done some solid damage, but quick fails out. Third shot is also a miss, not going well so far. I missed taking a photo of the fourth shot, but it was a hit that got blocked on armor. But the fifth and final one does the job, though. With her second action, Brick moves up to try to support Butcher. The mutant Hound is up next and puts 2 more damage onto Donovan. The Hound's second attack hits and has enough damage to lay Donovan out. He blocks 1 with armor, saving himself, but still takes 1 damage, and also gets a broken arm. Butcher moves up and uses his field medic ability to heal 1 damage off of Brick. Then he wheels around and takes a shot at the super mutant. 3 damage goes in, which ends up being 2 after the strong armor token gets taken away. The other super mutant moves and charges Donovan. Outnumbered with 1 HP left and a broken arm is not really a healthy place to be. But Donovan is up next and his first slice connects and takes the Hound down. Now at least it's a 1-on-1 fight. Despite the broken arm, he's able to hit the super mutant as well. This clears out the strong armor token and gets 1 damage through. The other super mutant takes a shot at Brick. Due to the cover in the way though, it's a fortunate miss. His second shot does hit and gets 1 damage through. If it weren't for that point of healing earlier, she would have been out of commission as well. Theo takes a crack at the computer check, but with 2 tries just does not get it. Turn 4 ends, and the field is getting a bit emptier now. The event for turn 5 is a Sun Glare. Long range attacks are going to take a penalty. That one might actually trigger, so I hope I don't forget about it. The super mutants finally get the advantage, and the generic super mutant closer to the center gets picked to go first. His AI decides to go for the objective, which is not the choice I would have made. But when playing these solo games, I always try to follow through on the AI's decisions. So he goes and tries to block the Rangers' access to the computer terminal. Donovan activates first for the Rangers, trying to get some damage in before he finally gets dropped. His first attempt is a surprising success, getting 2 damage in. The second swing also connects. Who needs working arms? The 1 damage gets blocked by armor, but the other gets through. This leaves the super mutant with just 2 left. Now for the counterattack. The mutant's first swat with a pipe wrench sails through empty air. The second one connects though and breaks all of Donovan's armor, so there's no way for him to save against getting KO'd. Brick goes next for the Rangers, moving up and spins up on the mutant. The first shot is a hit for 2 damage, 1 of which gets blocked on armor. The second one is also a good hit, with a bonus damage and armor break doing more work and pushing 2 more damage through. Only 1 left. The third shot would have been a KO hit, if it had connected. Now the walked fire bonus is reset too. The fourth shot does connect, and with the armor break it gets through and drops the mutant. This gives Butcher a clear line to the objective terminal. Unfortunately, he fails to shut it down. It takes 2 tries, but Theo actually does manage to shut his terminal down. Now the point score is tied 4-4. Wrapping up the penultimate turn, there's 1 hurt mutant left on the board, but the actual objective score is tied, and the Rangers have basically 1 opportunity to change that. For the final turn, we get an overcast event. No reaction triggers at long range. Not likely to trigger, but good to know. With only 1 model left, the last super mutant has the advantage and activates first. He has to move up just to get a long range shot on Theo. It hits, and he blocks 1 damage with his armor and finally loses one of his strong armor tokens. All Butcher has to do now is shut off 1 more computer. And he crit fails, which actually locks him out from trying again this turn, on the last turn of the game. Well, a broken terminal is worth 1 point, and that's all we need. So I guess it's time for some ballistic maintenance. The hunting revolver knocks off 1 of the 3 HP of the terminal. Brick moves up into contact with the terminal, since the rules as written say that you have to be in contact with it to perform an attack against it. At point blank range, the barrels of the minigun start spinning as the whine of the motor builds up. After a brief delay, a hail of bullets erupts into the monitor. The first shot hits, but the glass actually holds up and blocks the damage. The second round absolutely shreds the console to ribbons. There's no way for Theo to do anything else that would score or lose points, so the scenario winds to a close. It's a narrow victory for the Rangers with 5 points to the Super Mutants 4. Full of piss and vinegar, Theo chases off the remaining mutant, firing his pistol wildly in the general direction, but hitting nothing. The still standing Rangers retrieve their unconscious compatriots and inform them of the team's victory. Much rejoicing is had by all. And that's it for this scenario. This was a really fun one. It's probably my favorite Wasteland Warfare scenario that I've played in a while. The only thing that I'd want to check on are the rules for destroying the tokens. Either way, I'm looking forward to trying out other scenarios from the Capital Wave. That's it for now. Stay safe out there in the Wasteland.